The War Within is out for about 2 weeks now, and I had enough time to dive in, explore its content, and form some early opinions. First off, I need to get this out of the way. The expansion is not what I thought it would be. As someone who has lost trust in Blizzard and the Warcraft IP and has been approaching it with caution and skepticism for years, I would like to share my thoughts with you. I'm Tyrexa, and I've been playing World of Warcraft on and off since Burning Crusade. I have taken several breaks, ranging from a few weeks to nearly skipping entire expansions. Just like my breaks, my WoW gaming behavior ranges from playing multiple classes semi-hardcore to more casual gameplay where I mostly farm transmogs and mounts without focusing too much on endgame content. So let's break it all down, starting with what stood out the most to me. First off, let's talk about the staggered launch and early access. It definitely split the community, and I think it impacted the overall hype for the expansion negatively. Older expansions had this massive buzz when everyone was jumping in together at the same time. That excitement just wasn't there this time around. However, there was a silver lining. The staggered release made this probably the smoothest expansion launch I've experienced. Early access was polished for the most part, with just a bit of server-side lag in ringing deeps. Once the full release hit though, we did have some bugs, like the auction house issue. But overall, it wasn't the worst. It just wasn't as exciting as those big unified launches we used to get. Now, if you've been playing World of Warcraft for a while, you know it used to be pretty alt-on friendly. The War Within has completely flipped that script. Thanks to the new warband system, playing alts is actually fun again. You can share many types of currencies, reputation, and even gear between characters, which means if you got some gear drops on your main, you can pass it onto your alts without grinding through the same content. It's such a relief that they got rid of the never-ending borrowed power grind from previous expansions. Now you can just focus on fun gameplay and evergreen systems. And they have even added an achievement that increases experience gain by 5% for each max level character that you have, up to 25%, making leveling up new alts faster and more fun. Just the thoughts of not only gearing up, but also grinding through all the borrowed powers and extra features from my new alts made me quit the game before. That being said, the warband system could still use a few tweaks. I really wish they would let us share old class set transmogs across our warbands. It makes no sense to me that we can share almost everything except those iconic class sets. Still, Blizzard has plans to improve the system. They have mentioned working backwards to convert all the reputation to be warband wide, which is a promising start if you ask me. Let's talk leveling. The early game experience, from levels 1 to 70, has improved so much. I can finally recommend WoW to new players without feeling bad about it. The Exiles Reach Starter Zone and the post-tutorial experience in Dragonflight are really well done. It looks visually appealing and less like a game that's been around for 20 years. The previous system with Chromie Time was a cool concept, but let's be honest, it often left new players scratching their heads instead. Now, the game keeps things simpler, and once you're done with the main leveling experience, all that old content is still available to explore at your own pace. Leveling from 70 to 80 has also been a smoother experience than in past expansions. The pacing is significantly better and you don't feel like the campaign is dragging on forever. You'll get around 7 levels by just doing the main story quests, and if you throw in some side activities or dungeons, you can easily hit 80 in just a few hours. Now, I'm not the biggest lore fan, but I've got to give credits where it's due. The side quests I've done so far have been really well written and engaging. They make you feel like an adventurer again, exploring the world, rather than being an all-powerful champion who saved Azeroth multiple times. It's refreshing. For those of you who like to play solo, the War Within has more to offer. We've got soloable content in the form of follower dungeons, delves, and open world events. If you're the type of player who likes to go at your own pace or just doesn't like rushing through dungeons with other players, these follower dungeons are fantastic. You can even pass the lead to your NPC followers and let them guide you through the dungeon, which is great for newer players that are still learning the ropes. How cool is that? The zone fantasy in this expansion is on point. The Isle of Dorn and especially Hollowfall look absolutely stunning. The first time I saw Beladar's jaw-dropping color shift, I legit wished I had a second jaw when the color changed back. The graphics are pretty impressive for a 20-year-old game running on an outdated engine, and the zone music just hits all the right notes. It's epic, nostalgic, and really adds to the fantasy. What's your favorite zone in The War Within? Tell me in the comments about it. Class fantasy is another area that's much better now. Sure, there are a few specs that feel a bit underwhelming, but for the most part, the classes feel unique and engaging. The class reworks and hero talents push the class fantasy in a good spot. I hope that Blizzard continues tweaking the classes and make them feel better and unique. The user interface has gotten slightly better in terms of visual clarity. Blizzard has made an effort to fix issues like red telegraphs on red ground or blue on blue, which were a nightmare in past expansions. While it's improving, I still think the game relies too heavily on add-ons to provide a smooth experience. I'd love to see Blizzard make the base UI more customizable so we don't have to install a million add-ons just to play the game comfortably. I hope that one day the base Blizzard UI is good and customizable enough that everything important it intended can be seen by default. Now let's talk about something a bit controversial, the pay-to-win. WoW remains one of the few MMORPGs with minimal pay-to-win mechanics, but that doesn't mean it's completely free of it. The WoW token is great in theory. It allows people with lots of gold or people who can't afford to pay for a subscription on top of all other subs we have these days to pay for game time. The issue comes when players start using that gold to buy raid carries, achievements, collectibles, and even best in slot gear. This effectively makes the game pay to win for those willing to spend enough money. While it's not as bad as some other MMORPGs like ArcAge or Neverwinter, it's something Blizzard could address to make the game feel better. At least there is a cap for the pay to win in this game. Blizzard might not sell power in their shop themselves, but they tolerate selling carries for gold. Despite that, World of Warcraft is in a good place right now. It feels fun again, and more importantly, it doesn't feel like a chore. You don't have that fear of missing out that was so prevalent in past expansions. There's content for everyone, whether you're into raiding, dungeons, PvP or casual solo play. Although raids are still the crown jewel of the game, but other areas like PvP are also getting some love. We've got a new battleground, Honor is finally warband tradable, and solo queue for rated battleground is now a thing, similar to what we saw with arenas in Dragonflight. Speaking of Dragonflight, many of the features that made it great are still present in The War Within. Skyriding, Blizzard's take on the Griffin mounts from Guild Wars 2, is still as awesome as ever. The new zones are designed with skyriding in mind, offering plenty of verticality and depth. You also unlock skyriding early on, and this time the Pathfinder achievement is much easier to obtain. Just explore and play naturally. I'm still enjoying the gearing system introduced in Dragonflight, with its upgrade tracks, the catalyst, crafted gear and embellishments. It's a system I definitely prefer over Azerite gear and other systems we've had in the past. Professions also feel good with the rework from Dragonflight. Specializations, profession gear and stats are still engaging, and crafting is part of the endgame, unlike in older expansions where the gear crafting professions became useless later on. I also love the skywriting races. Every time a world quest for one of those pops up, I'm on it immediately. In conclusion, The War Within has been an enjoyable expansion so far, but we have to see how the new raids, Mythic Plus affixes and seasons affect the game moving forward. If you want to hear my full review once you're deep into Season 1 or want to check out the class guides, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll be dropping a Havoc Demon Hunter guide later in Season 1, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching and have fun in Azeroth. Until next time, Tarexa logging out.